In the words of Triple H, are you ready? So you guys see Flashpoint right here, the comic book. However, today we are going to be talking about the Flash TV series and the Flashpoint episode from that. So according to my calendar, we have about 4 days until the Flash is released. Now, the movie Flash doesn't have the title Flashpoint, and there are a lot of differences that they had to make because of Hollywood and the studio and actors and all that good stuff. So we won't be getting the full story. And of course, a lot of times the movie or the TV series don't follow the comics as closely as we would like. However, the TV series was pretty dead on accurate. So again, we have 4 days until the Flash movie is released, and I wanted to go ahead and just share my experiences with the Flash himself and Flashpoint and the Paradox. Now, I don't believe, well, there's 2 episodes in the TV series. So this is going to be season 3, episode 1 and 2. So episode 1 is Flashpoint, of course. Episode 2 is Paradox. Now, you do have Paradox in the animated series, which is Flashpoint Paradox. And then also, too, you do have a version of the Paradox in the comic book world. But today we are specifically talking about episode 1, season 3. Now, if episode 2 gets entangled in here somehow, it's okay, y'all. You're gonna get it all within the movie, and my job here is just to prepare you for the movie. And it doesn't matter if you're a DC fan, Marvel fan, Valiant fan, Variant comic fan, HBO Max, Disney, Fox, Sony, none of that really matters. We are discussing comics, and that's our hobby. So welcome to Reviews from the Six. My name is Cedric, but you can call me Ceddy Said. And of course, as we already said, we are talking about Flash, the TV series, season 3, episode 1, Flashpoint. So of course, if you're familiar with the Flashpoint, you kind of already know the backstory of it. So just to fill you in on the backstory, according to the TV series, there was a event that happened in the Arrowverse, or the Arrow TV series, where the Flash kind of changed history. So they're picking up from that crossover. And here you do have a few characters that were a little different, but like I said, we'll cover all that. So pretty much Barry wakes up and he's kind of like, yo, like, what's going on here? Like, who's this villain on TV? Who's this guy working in the office? I don't know what's going on here. So of course he tries to use his speed, and his speed doesn't work. And that's pretty accurate through all the universes, right? From the comic book to the animated series. So his speed doesn't work, and he's like, yo, what's going on? So of course he starts having the memories. Now the memories are painful, right? And he's really like, yo, something just ain't right here, right? So all of a sudden he sees like a villain on TV, and he's like, oh, I gotta go stop him. But of course, I mean, at this point he does have speed, but the more he uses his speed, the more it changes his mind or alter his thoughts and his memories. So the more he uses his speed, the more he changes that reality, and the more he loses of himself, which I kind of thought was a good little angle to it, because in the comic book series, you really don't have that at all, right? To where his speed is actually what's changing the universe. More so in the comic book series and in the animated series, it's more so where, his time in that universe is changing and altering stuff. So I just thought that was a cool little angle. Now, the difference is that they do have a villain in here called the Rival, and you do have Thawne, but the Reverse Flash isn't Thawne in this one. It gets a little kind of crazy when you watch the series. So long story short, they're fighting a guy named the Rival. He gets there, and of course you have the other speedster there, right? So with the other speedster being there, I was like, yo, okay, I kind of like what they're doing. And I believe it's Wally, by the way. So he sees Wally. Now you got to remember, Wally's already in his timeline. So he sees Wally. Wally's the Reverse Flash in this timeline. And he's like, yo, like, do you understand you are the Reverse Flash? Type deal, right? And Wally's kind of like, nah, I ain't no second to nobody, bro. Like, I run this. This is my fight, my, villain, whatever it may be. So Barry then agrees to team up with, not Reverse Flash, but agrees to team up with with Wally. So Wally takes him back to his lair and is like, hey, this is my sister Iris. So you got to remember, Iris and him in another timeline are like this, right? He's kissed her, he's done all this stuff, but in this timeline, he hasn't. So he's like trying to build that relationship, but at the same time help them and not explain that he came from the future. So yeah, so the episode kind of, you do have a lot of Barry trying to rekindle what he has with Iris. Now, of course, the big thing here, all of you are like, yo, why are you leaving out the mother? I'm not leaving out the mother. I kind of feel like that gets entangled with everything else, right? So of course, first things first, his parents are alive, right? So now that's really messing with him. He's like, yo, like, how can y'all be alive, man? This ain't right. So he's doing everything to keep them alive until he starts noticing that things are being changed. So then he goes to Thawne, and Thawne pretty much tells him, hey, you using your speed is changing everything. You're going to need me to kill your mother by the end of the day. Before it's all said and done, you're going to need me to kill her. And he's like, no, there's no way that's going to happen. I can find alternative ways, so forth, so forth. But nah, it doesn't happen that way, right? So now back to the rival. They're sitting there fighting the rival. They team up, they link up, they're getting everybody together, the whole team. So of course, Cisco isn't in the comic series. So they're getting Cisco. Cisco's upset with him because his brother died. However, Barry is willing to mess up the entire timelines to save his family, but not to save his brother, Cisco's brother. So Cisco feels a certain way about that. And Barry doesn't know really what's going on with everybody because the timeline's different. With that being said, you have Iris's father, who's a complete drunk and, a bit of a, he's irate and he's angry, he's not the same. He's totally the opposite. So you got that going on too. And he's still a cop. So you got all this going on, and I know even Iris and the father is fighting, and he doesn't know why. So Barry keeps making these situations awkward when he's asking, like, what's going on here? Why aren't you liking each other? So they kind of know something's up. So then he kind of explains to him exactly what's going on. So they go to fight the rival. The rival ends up stabbing Wally in the chest with a pipe, I believe. Stabbed him with a pipe. So he's hurt, so Flash has to take care of the rival himself, which he does. He ends up beating the rival. Now, the rival's faster than both of them. However, when they get back to look at the wound of Wally, they realize Wally isn't healing. And I'm not really too sure why he isn't healing. I think they said why, but I think it's because him and Barry share power. So now there's supposed to be one speedster in this universe, but now there's two. And since there's two, Barry isn't as fast as he was in his universe, and Wally isn't healing like he's supposed to in his universe. So it's kind of like, like a trade-off, right? So he wants to change everything. He's like, the only way I can save Wally and get everything back to normal is by resetting the timeline. And that's by having Thawne kill my mother. Yeah. And that's exactly what happens. So now some of you are asking, okay, you kind of skipped a little bit. Why? I really didn't skip a bit. In the beginning of the video, I told you guys about the event that happened in the Arrowverse. So you want to go back and watch that, and that's going to explain a whole lot that I didn't cover, or a lot of stuff that you're going to be like, he didn't include that. But to go ahead and sum up the story, he changes things in the Arrowverse. So it changes his reality, right? He goes to another timeline. When he's in the other timeline, he realizes that his mother isn't dead. He realized that he's not in cahoots with Iris. He realizes Wally doesn't know who he is. Wally can't heal. Iris's father is a bit of an a-hole, but things of that nature. His parents are still alive, but in order to correct everything, they're going to need Thawne to kill his mother. And that's exactly what happens. So there's a lot of stuff that goes on inside the Paradox episode that I kind of want to get into a little bit here too, or that season. I mean, there's where a prisoner gets released from the Speed Force and the Speed Force goes haywire. Now that kind of sums up season 3 for the Flash. But like I said, that's involved in Paradox. You do get that in the comic series. You really don't get it here. Now, kind of sort of at the end of the season, you see Barry submits himself or gives himself to the Speed Force as a prisoner so he can stop everything. However, In the comics, he goes back in time. So the cool part about that too is that you see Barry tries to go back in time. However, his father grabs him, and his father is like, "What are you doing?" And it stops there, y'all. Like, I really enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed it too. With that being said, you made it to the end of the video. So have I, man. And that was my summary of episode 1 for season 3 of The Flash, titled The Flashpoint. With that being said, man, I'm just glad you made it this far. Your vibe attracts your tribe. Go ahead, hit that subscribe button. Also, make sure you hit that like button so the algorithm can start putting this video out there for your boy. You know, make sure you leave me a comment down below. What do you think of the Flashpoint series and The Flash? Do you think it's better or indifferent or the same as the animated series and the comic book series? Let me know down below. What was your thoughts about it? What did you think about this review? Are you a fan of The Flash? Are you waiting for The Flash to come out? Also, make sure you hit that notification bell so you don't miss any future uploads. And please share this video to any and all social media platforms, specifically to those you think this would be useful for and beneficial to. Again, welcome to Reviews from the Six. Thanks for joining me today. Peace, love, and blessings.